I'm pretty sure everyone knew. Harry's lips parted, but not a single sound came out. Blinking quickly became an extent of his abilities in that shocked state. Miranda bumped him with her hip and giggled. We've been each other's favorites for a long time. The sweet moment pulled Harry out of his embarrassment and wiped away the worries from his expression. Baxter cleared his throat.
I apologize.
I apologize for the distraction. A distraction from the secondary distraction he had already orchestrated. What a feat!
Yeah.
It's cool. Like you said, it all worked out, and that's what counts to me. With me, energized, Terry punched a fist into his opposite palm, towards the alley. And right now, I'm ready to roll. We've got our teams. We can start. If you don't mind, Callie. Our team is perfect.
Yes.
Here it is. Miranda eagerly smiled at your remark, and Terry alternatively smirked. We'll let the schools speak for themselves. How are we deciding on who goes first? Rock, paper, scissors? A classic. One I rarely win. No, I only choose rock. Oh yeah, you'd seen that firsthand when they invited you out on the boating trip. Doesn't matter with convictions. Rock-based convictions.
Okay.
Okay?
Very well.
Regardless, since Jude got to pick who was on his team, I believe it would be fair that Scott's team to take the town first. Jude shrugged smugly at the suggestion. He then gestured towards the colorful bowling balls. Go ahead, it's not gonna make a difference.
He's right.
He's right. Scott calmly readjusted his glasses and smirked. He pointed at his husband-to-be. Jude's gonna lose no matter when he steps up to the alley. Jude snorted, his competitive nature burning brightly in his unshakable expression. Bring it on, Grant. You're about to get your government funding revoked. Scott's mouth wobbled slightly at the sound of his own nickname, but he was determined to keep his game face on. Squaring his shoulders, he went straight to the rack and selected his ball. Go in for the medium option. He picked it up and sent it down the alley with a large curve. Unfortunately, the ball barely managed to bring 2 pins down. His confidence hadn't faltered, though you caught him mumbling under his breath. No, just try again. The bowling ball rolled back, and Scott brought it up to the starting line. And on this round, he managed to put a special oomph into a swing. The pins scattered in all directions. That would have been an easy strike if it had been his first throw, but it wasn't. Your team opened with a spell.
Okay.
You can go next, Callie. Roger that. Standing up, you confidently strode to the selection of bowling balls, weighing your options. You stuck with medium. Good all reliable. The view was what you were used to. Why mess with what fit? Moving with precision, you took a position. With a single swing, you let go, and your skills had improved over the years. That was perfect. Every game had been leading to this victorious moment. The ball flew past down the alley and smashed into the pins, securing your strike. I did it! Scott excitedly threw his hands into the air and cheered.
Whoa!
You did! That was incredible! Last up for your crew was the wild card. The person any of you least expected to be here, and yet he was the only reason you were there to begin with. Your paths crossed when you were returning to the seating area, and Baxter was going to select his ball. He briefly tilted his head in your direction. I think this team is perfect as well. The sound of his voice stopped you dead in your tracks. He looked over his shoulder, but he continued his path. Shaking your head, you secured your seat and watched what he did next. And Baxter brushed his fingers along the rack of the shiny white spears. His hand stopped on a white ball, the heaviest set. He sucked at it, not without a subtle smirk. He strode up to the alley, just fine with that. Rolling your eyes, you didn't know who Baxter was trying to impress. A lot of people use the heaviest ball. It was nothing special. Baxter didn't waste any time around. He hefted the ball into an arc and sent it right off. He managed to topple 7 pins with the first throw and scored a spell on his second round.
Not bad.
I'll accept that. He pivoted to the group and dipped his head He admitted to the group and dipped his head good-naturedly after his performance. Jude stood up and clapped politely. Alright, it's our time now. The opposing team started off with their leader, Jude, who matched his fiancée and got a spare. In his case, he managed to get almost every pin on the first try, and sealing the deal on the second. Terry bounced over and scored a spectacular strike like it was nothing. He met your eyes and grinned in terms of one-on-one. He showed himself as your real competition. Finally, it was Randy's turn. She grabbed one of the heavier balls and boldly scoped over to the alley and... she thought she couldn't be classified as a throw, but a gentle nudge. The ball scooted right into the gutter. There wasn't enough momentum to reach the pins. Everyone in your group gawped at her in disbelief. Jude's jaw in particular hit the floor. Randy! What was that? Whoops, I don't know. She saw on her heels and followed with Fox's innocence. Jude ran his hands down his tense face. He knew what kind of mischief his sister was cooking.
Really?
You're throwing the game for me? My own sister? No, it was an accident. Brenda couldn't stop a single giggle and fluttered to her seat. She sweetly folded her hands in her lap. Damn! Jude sighed. He bared down on her with all of his big brotherly disappointment. His demeanor was sour enough to spoil Miranda's sugar-coated smile. Like a traitor's reveal, she twisted and her true intentions were revealed. I was ground on this one. Wait, I want to see what this one is.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah. No way.
Okay. Well, this is in the back. Scott laughed as you casually lounged in your seat and hung your arm over the back. Terry was in contrast with the force of competitive spirit. I'm not out yet, and neither is Jude. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. Go ahead and try.
So?
I will carry this team if I have to. Chuckling, Scott got to his feet, pushed up his sleeves to his elbows, and it was his turn. Good luck. You're gonna need it. So am I. Round after round, Miranda found even... Round after round, Miranda found even worse ways to send her bowling ball across the aisle. It was impressive, and your whole team reaped the benefits. Joe gave it his all, and Terry did what he could to boil the points with strikes, but their efforts weren't enough. At the end of the game, you, Scott, Baxter, and Miranda were winners. Even though it was a biased 4 versus 2, Scott was more thrilled to claim this as a win. A victory was a victory, and he didn't get to lose. You threw your arms around Baxter in a hug. Baxter squeezed his eyelids shut and leaned into your touch. He didn't return the embrace. His laughter filled your head like an old favorite song.
You are incredible.
That was a splendid game. I don't think I've ever had one quite like that. He sighed happily in response, and Baxter suddenly went still. Letting go, he untangled himself from your orbit and stepped back to a more polite distance. Oh, yeah. That was probably for the best. That happened the first time you'd been physically affectionate in years. And it happened so easily. Your body had moved on autopilot. For a split second, you were 18 and sharing a special summer with the boldly confident and bizarrely dressed boy renting the condo up the street. I told you were gonna lose. Gold punctuated his teasing with a roughly laugh. Bending over, he planted his palms against his knees, rocked on his feet. Jude attempted to frown, but the redder his fiancée's face became, the more his own smile grew affectionately. Yeah, tough guy. You win. Don't pass out. Chuckling, Scott stood up straight and removed his glasses. He wiped an eye with the side of his wrist and began cleaning the lenses with the bottom of his shirt.
Good call.
Despite the totally stacked odds, it was fun. Wouldn't have wanted it any other way. From the precious way Jude watched his husband to be, you got the impression that Jude was Jude probably agreed. Scott deserved to win today. You glanced away soundly, deciding not to intrude further on the couple's private moment. It was a comfort to see the wedding. It was a comfort to see the couple in bad spirits, even with all the disagreements over wedding details. You knew at the end of the day, Jude and Scott really loved each other. Speaking of Baxter, you caught the gently pleased smile on his softening on his expression. Watching the couple reconnect was his win.
Well,
Since we're here already, and it's nearly lunch, how about we grab something to eat? Yeah, you want to get food at a bowling alley. That went against Scott's whole view of a classy planner. And to be fair, it surprised you too, and you knew him better. At least you used to. Yeah, I didn't see why not.
Yeah.
That's good with me. How about it gonna be? Let's do it. Scott's focus flickered between his siblings, his brows raised in... Scott's focus flickered between the siblings, his brows raised in a contrast to their easy-going remarks.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll eat here. Terry snorted and folded his arms across his chest. He didn't share Scott's qualms of the moment.
Sorry.
I'll bite. So, Baxter, I gotta know, why would you want to eat a run-of-the-mill place like this? Immediately, the corners of Scott's mouth curled triumphantly. He sucked in the validation that he was the only one thinking things of it off. Do they secretly have an unquestionably good cook back there? You can tell me. Baxter's nose wrinkled at Terry's interrogation. He combed the tips of his fingers through his swooped bangs.
You know.
I'm not a nobleman, if you want to laugh. I eat the same food as everyone else, and I am perfectly happy to explore the convenient meal of directly in front of us. Terry nudged his head in Miranda's direction. He didn't take his eyes off Baxter, though. He's evading the final question. Maybe the food is really something here. I recall when we went bowling together, you had us get food somewhere more upscale. I believe we had ate at a nice country club instead.
Dude.
Caught. Ooh! Callie coming in with receipts. Grinning ear to ear, Jude draped his arms over. Grinning ear to ear, Jude draped his arm around John's shoulders. Miranda and Terry exchanged knowing glance, Miranda and Terry exchanged a knowing glance and then snickered. Wait, you went bowling before? When? Many years ago. You shouldn't judge my actions today by my behavior then.
Honestly.
19-year-old Baxter had too far high expectations for every hour. The person you see before you today is humbler, dare I say, even more flexible. Despite Baxter's continued insistence that he was the type of person who'd definitely eat a bowling alley, the group remained unconvinced. They squashed together and watched in intrigue as he approached the counter and actually put in an order. Baxter selected a veggie burger, which evoked several murmurs of the approval from your friends. Out of all the options, that appeared to be the most fitting for a fancy wedding planner. He stepped away from the counter, and your friends quickly fell into a line, picking out their own lunches. Jude ordered chili dog, Scott got a hamburger. Terry picked out a slice of cheese pizza, and Miranda asked for the same. Plus, the big plate of nachos were ordered for anyone who wanted to split. Before you knew it, it was your turn at the counter, and you decided to go with nothing.
Is that all right?
Are you sure you'll be okay with that? Yeah, I'm alright. Fine, but remember the nachos are for everyone. So if you change your mind, I won't go hungry. I promise. We found a free spot near the alley to sit down. Terry idly drummed his fingers on the table, but you couldn't even hear the sound. It was drowned out by the surrounding clamor. Balls crushing into pins, and shouts of victory and defeat were made for an interesting ambience. We got a good set here. Jude and Grand are engaged. Me and Randy are dating. Callie and Baxter are, Terry, how did that? His mouth had been moving faster than his mind. It had not reached its logical conclusion before he began to ramble. Apparently he forgotten things was strained between you and Baxter. Awkward exes? Oh, you heard about that.
Yep.
Yep. And Baxter began fiddling with his... Baxter began fiddling with the paper napkin in front of him. His eyes narrowed, and he tried to graciously move past the touch of embarrassment.
Well,
Oh, well, I can't blame everyone talking about it. That is fair. However, since everyone is aware of the story, I believe I'll go hide in shame for the next several days. He justly flippant at the pair of couples, dropping the napkin. God's brows lifted. Are you serious right now?
no.
No, Scott. I'm not. It is only wishful thinking. Oh. The conversation grew quiet after that. Terry had managed to score some unintentional retribution after Baxter was dancing foot in his mouth about Terry's longtime crush on Randy. But the awkwardness was overcome once the food came out, and everyone dug in right away except from Baxter. He took the time to meticulously cut his veggie burger with the plastic knife and ate the bite-sized pieces with a fork. Yeah, I'm pretty sure a rich person would do that, you know? But then again, maybe it's just a Baxter thing. I don't know. Yeah. Rich person TikTok says otherwise. I mean, says it's what Baxter does, basically. I don't know who the person is, but, you know, it's online. Halfway through lunch, Mr. Ward ever so casually took the lead in conversation. Nothing more than table chatter, of course. So, what are we intending on doing after we finish eating? Going to the craft store? Jude grabbed a few tortilla chips and bit into them with a loud crunch. Baxter rested his chin on the palm of his hand. I've been giving it some thought, and I believe you may not have to. If you know what you want for the centerpieces, I could pick them up I could pick up the supplies and drop them off at your house later today. You could?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's not a problem.
Me too.
Right, I'll go with him to help. Yeah, me too.
In that case...
I can see where this is going. The two of you can go home and relax. We can do the pesky shopping. The two of you are likely more worn down than you've registered. My suggestion is that you should take as many breaks as you can sneak in before the wedding. As slick as ever. Craft shopping with Terry and Randy would be fun, even if Baxter was there. Don't worry, the four of us will get the shopping done in a snap. Oh, well, there you have it.
Would that be alright?
That would be great, actually, don't you think? Jude folded his arms and surveyed the sight around him. His friends, family, and wedding planner were all watching him optimistically. Finally, he cracked a smile. Yeah, thanks.
Good.
Fantastic. Then there's little else to worry about until we return with your centerpiece material.
Hold on.
Hold on. Anything else, Scott? Oh, I'm not sure. What kind of wiggle room do we have left on the schedule? There's certainly space for a few things. Plenty of elements can be added with minimal effort, and will have a big impact on your experience. For example, you could plan to have a first dance, or multiple with a parent, guardian, or other important figure in your life. Rather conveniently for the line of work I'm in, I used to ballroom dance competitively.
I can do that.
So, if either of you need lessons or wish to practice, I can provide that. It wouldn't be an additional charge, of course. My services are all-inclusive. Your attention snapped in his direction. Why did he say a word like that he was retired? You couldn't imagine a world where Baxter didn't dance anymore. Competitive ballroom dancing? You sure you're a regular dude? Positive. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in? The couple shared a long stared silence. Stare. Scott practically rubbed the back of his neck and returned his attention to the conversation.
I don't know.
I think we need to think about that once more, I think. Good call.
I get it.
That's fair. Let me know when you come to a decision. Baxter quietly hummed to himself, musing over his next thought. Left his head, and this point he wasn't bothering to hide that he'd returned to planner mode. And Jude, you mentioned you saw empires before, correct? Uh-huh. Once with my sister and parents. Cousins sometimes. Scott nodded proudly, while Jude only shrugged in response. As if covered bashfully. I've got a big family. But what about for yourself? If there's parties for themselves. You are. Right now, actually. Oh, fine. Yeah. A Jude scratched behind his ear, reassessing the conversation. Baxter smiled amiably. Perhaps you're viewing this too much as a party for some undefined mass and demands of social pressure and such. And Scott, you're seeing it purely as the guest to judge, when in reality, the wedding day is solely for you and your husband. My next recommendation is that you do nothing more for the wedding until it's going to truly improve your memories for the event. You're right.
I'm sorry.
Jude, I'm sorry for making both of us do so much so fast. It sucked. Hey, it wasn't that bad. Jude took Scott's hand and held it between his own. He wore an easy smile and lightly brushed his thumb across his fiancée's skin. If you still want the centerpieces, we should do it. I do. I kind of have a vision for the event. Jude's head fell back and he let out an affectionate laugh at the omission.
Yeah?
You do, huh? When do you get a kick out designing venue spaces? Next birthday, you're on desk for decorations.
That'd be cool.
Honestly, that'd be really cool. Jude gave his fiancée a light squeeze, and then returned to the main conversation. Scott shifted his attention to Baxter and returned. I'll text you the shopping list.
That's wonderful.
Wonderful. And Scott glanced at Jude and began chewing the inside of his cheek. He didn't have to say it. Clearly he had one more idea. What? I thought of something else recently. Remember that year you rented a limo for your twin sisters on the 18th birthday? Yeah.
Well...
There's that sort of thing where people getting married arrive and leave in fancy cars. So I was thinking, what if we do that for our wedding too? Something like a classic Corvette, maybe. Jude's eyes widened in awe. The suggestion hit the nail on his curly head.
Seriously?
I want to do that. I'll go around and get that sorted today. Hell yeah!
My pleasure.
It's my pleasure. The couple beamed at each other. Jude gently cupped the side of his fiancée's face, and Scott leaned in to touch. Thank you for thinking of that. You probably could have thought of it yourself if I hadn't given you 1,000 other things to worry about. I doubt it. I'm a shitty wedding planner. Besides, you sound to me like you're talking about yourself. I am.
Mm-hmm.
You've been so busy that you haven't told Baxter something important we've still got scheduled for the ceremony. Done. Scott searched for a shot of what Jude was talking about. Nothing could be grasped in his married state, and Jude decided to let him off the hook. We want to have a candle lighting ritual.
Perfect.
Oh, that's a delightful idea.
Perfect.
Okay, yeah. I was just making sure then. We already have the candle for it. We just gotta make sure it doesn't get skipped. That's something we wanted for the both of us.
That's true.
Yeah, Jude's right on all accounts. I can't believe I forgot about that. Did you make sure the officiator doesn't forget? Absolutely. That's what I'm here for. And so you finally finished the day's intended discussion in a far livelier atmosphere than how it was in the office. Both Jude and Scott had an easier time with the process and vocalizing their thoughts when they were shooting the breeze than they did under a more professional interview. Baxter's improved party playing skills were impressive. He'd grown leaps and bounds. Even Terry and Miranda were pleased at how this meeting went. Against all odds, Baxter proved within a matter of days that he was someone they could rely on for this wedding. Once the centerpiece CEOs were exchanged, the groups split into teams. Jude and Scott were sent off for home, and the remaining four of you hit the road for the craft store.